So here we have the Master Universe Origins Turtle of Grayskull Stealth Ninja He-Man figure out of the box. Just pointing out that that is not a correct collector-friendly packaging. So people that want to collect this mint on card or on card, I mean, that's fine for you, but if you wanted to keep the packaging to use it as storage, it's not going to happen for you. But that's not a deal breaker for me anyway, because I'm not a mint on card collector. Now, this is everything you get. I have them armed and everything. This is the front view of Stealth Ninja He-Man. And here's your back view with the sword in the cape. Now, what in the world is Stealth Ninja He-Man about? Okay, first of all, and I'm kind of knowledgeable about this a little bit. You see, I have the Turtles of Grayskull, the entire run with all the covers of the Dark Horse comic that came out. And as a He-Man story and a Ninja Turtle story, it's kind of a flat story, to be honest with you. I'm glad to have the full run, but not my favorite stuff. And also the Thundercats one was dumb. But here we are. Now, so what there is like a history of He-Man dressing up in a disguise when he goes in the past, in the final mini comics of the original vintage run. And then they made a figure of this in the classics that a lot of people made fun of and said, look like the Hamburglar. They're kind of tapping into some of that with this figure. But they made it awesome rather than looking like the Hamburglar. So, now this mask was not on the figure in the box. I put it on there. First, I couldn't tell what it was, and I realized, oh, it's a mask. Duh. Basically, he is just a regular He-Man. Now, this is my first Origins figure, too. I've not collected this line, but I thought I would jump on when they came out with the Turtles of Grayskull, because I thought, man, that's a cool idea. And I just didn't get any of them. Here, this was gifted to me. I'm very grateful, and I love it. I love it. Being my first Origins figure, so, hey, he fell down. This is a review, after all. But I actually haven't done anything to make him stand or fall. This is like straight out of the box. I did move his arm out and put it back, but he's pretty stiff. That's just how it is. Let's a little bit of going down. So this like cape cow ninja thing costume is, like I say, reminiscent of Undercover He-Man from the mini comics, where he goes in the past and sees the Preternia. And on the back you have the power sword, and this one looks like the Alcala design of the power sword rather than a like a Filmation type of sword. I don't know, maybe. What do you think, Hub City Geeks? But it's short compared to the, say, Masterverse swords, and also compared to the classic swords. I guess it is similar in size to the vintage swords. However, now I will do some comparisons, but I don't have many of my old weapons anymore. And just like that, there comes that cowl off. You can see He-Man like you're supposed to. Now, these bright colors are one of the things that put me off of the Origins line when I first saw it. Mix it with Ninja Turtles and it kind of makes sense, because Ninja Turtles are brightly colored all around. But I remember saying that's kind of like a Play-Doh looking hairdo. And when you see the first run of them, it's more severe than even this. So we have a shoulder pauldron that is a turtle shell, of course. And we have a turtle shell armor bracer and one on his right leg. Now, interesting that this one has exposed toes and this one is the regular boot. Now, that's just very interesting. Like, it's kind of like he's wearing one shoe on, one shoe off, right? Anybody else think that? And he has, this is kind of like a regular, this is kind of like what Skeletor would wear. And I understand that these things are called stele. These like straps that hang down as a loincloth. I haven't taken this stuff off, but I'm about to. And you can see, but yeah, that is an armor piece that He-Man does not usually have. So here's He-Man with all this stuff off. And to get that shoulder pauldron off, I had to pop the arm off, which is perfectly fine. In Origins, it's all pop and swap. I was nervous about that, and I was really nervous about popping the torso off from the waist, but it came right off, and it went right back on. So, something else. Holding this in hand while I was just doing that, something happened to me, like, you know, something like, it's just like a total nostalgia vibe. Because this is the exact same, appears to be the exact same sculpt, almost exactly, as any vintage style He-Man. I mean, he has a bigger strap on the back of his armor. And yeah, he doesn't have the power punch, twist punch waist. But holding this in hand, it really feels like He-Man. Just to be real. But he's far more articulated than any vintage He-Man figure, right? Yeah, these arms and stuff, they just pop right off. I didn't pop the legs off. I just popped the waist off. And so we could swap that leg out. That's the only thing on this that feels off, is just that being a like a sandaled, exposed toes foot. I mean, that's not even bad though. So how many vintage figures do you see that has the paint rubbed off around stuff like that? And so it just kind of looks like that anyway. So yeah. So just spending some time playing with these guys. You can see, you can swap some of the parts from the Turtles of Grayskull figure with the vintage prints at them. Obviously, some of it doesn't work, but you can put the mask and the top of the cowl on there. You can put the bracer on there and the leg bracer on there. Of course, you can't do the belt or the main cape because his head is not removable, and you have to remove the torso to get that belt on and off. But this shows you that there is some interchangeability between the parts, which makes sense. I just kind of want to show off. I still have my buzz off from back in the day. Seems like for a long piece of my childhood, only one wing was there. I'd lost the other one. And then somehow or another, we found the other one. Anyways, buzz off. What I want to say is the vintage arms appear to be a little bit shorter than the Origins figures arms. That is one concession I think is there. Just an observation. It seems to me like the Origins arms are a little bit longer. They hang down a little farther, which is fine. It's just fine. It's just a difference. So here's a comparison of a modern Masterverse figure with Turtles of Grayskull Stealth He-Man. there's not as many differences as you'd expect. Keep in mind the Masterverse figure is around $5 more expensive. Do I see $5 more paint and plastic there? Probably. Probably. You could take this figure more seriously than you can take this one, though. I mean, just the way it is. The sculpt on this figure is pretty good. I mean, the only thing to complain about really is the knees on the sculpt. The only paint on the figure, so this is what I really wanted to talk about. The only paint here really is in the face. So, I mean, this is good. It looks like He-Man. There's no question about that. It looks like vintage He-Man's face. The other paint that's here is on the armor. The little red Iron Cross. There's glossy paint hit on the bracers and the belt, like the sculpt, not the piece of armor. That's the only paint. Every other single thing here is molded plastic. Now, looking at Masterverse, there might be a wash of paint on his boots, but everything else is just the plastic. His face and his hairs, obviously painted, but yeah, it's about the same amount of paint, really. Yeah, there's like brown paint hits on the fur of the boots, whereas it's just plastic here. I guess probably the toe there might be a paint hit if the foot was molded in the color of the boots. But yeah. By swapping all the armor pieces to be on his left side, presumably his non-dominant side, I don't want to say weaker, talking about He-Man, and having all the offense being on the right is a smart choice. Now here is Super 7 Black Falcon. So He-Man is shorter. The Super 7 Ultimates figures are kind of like Master Universe Classics figures, so they are taller, bigger scale. Masterverse figures are even taller, though. You can see that probably in this, since He-Man has the low ground, he might win this exchange, right? But Black Falcon is head to toe in armor, so maybe not. I don't know. Also, he's a skeleton, so that better be a magic sword with, or you better be ready to punch, right? I kind of wish there were alternate hands for this figure. Maybe a punching hand. Maybe also a karate chopping hand rather than just the vintage open hand for a shield that he did not come with. And hi, Dad. Right? So this is probably my best He-Man figure, which is 40th anniversary He-Man figure, which has ridiculously large pectoral muscles. But you can see he wears this cape just fine. It's a little, maybe it's a little short, but it don't look wrong or any kind of way. And it fits right on there. And so that is an Origins piece of something that works great with Masterverse. I mean, that's something cool. I kind of wish that the cape had more paint apps to it. Like, I just wish it had more paint apps to it, you know. And is there any really sense in comparing these two? This is the Mythic Legion's The Legendary Barbarian. You know, with the blonde hair put on there, so you know who he is. But this figure is at least double the price of the Origins figure. You know, maybe a little more than double. So that makes a difference, a big difference. And from a small studio, not a giant corporation. So some smarty Hub City geek out there might say, SpartanNerd, why didn't you show us any Ninja Turtles to compare them to? Well, I don't have any Ninja Turtles, and that'd be a good reason why. I really looked at getting the Super 7 Ultimates Turtles, but I was convinced I would only buy all 4 of them and not just one of them. My favorite turtle being Donatello. Is my attitude changing about that? I mean, I looked really hard at the Heat Boys Donatello Transformer thing. That thing is expensive, but man, it's awesome. So I might be going and getting that eventually. So what do I rate the Turtles of Grayskull Stealth Ninja He-Man Master Universe Origins figure? Well, it's the first one I have, and it's He-Man. So he's getting the feels point, right? Straight up. So just giving him that one. And his sculpt is good. This is the first Origins figure I've ever had. So I don't have any reference to compare it to. But I can say that I was hit with the nostalgia when I was holding it and messing with it. It was a lot like playing with the vintage He-Man that I actually have. Like the way it feels in your hand and stuff. And also, I mean, when you open that up, it just... There's something to that. And Mattel and whoever else knows it. I went to the the South Carolina Comic Con a couple years ago. They had the voice of April O'Neil there. And she'd come on and announce the different events that were going on. But it did something to me. I said this to my wife. She said, "Did you almost cry?" I said, "No. I didn't almost cry, but there's something, there's a nerve in there somewhere that is striking." And this struck that same nerve. So, and that's a good thing, because, I mean, it's human. There's something human there, but there's something dangerous there, and marketing they can use to market stuff to us too, right? So anyways, so the sculpt is great. I think it needs more paint. I would have to mark off on the paint department, but when I look at the rest of the Origins figures, which I have none of, it's on par with those. Like, I've had my eye on Shirella. Every now and then Mattel puts out a thing, and Shirella's obviously sitting in the warehouse not selling out because of reasons, right? But she's cute. And I have a lot of female figures, and, you know, maybe I'll go get that Shirella. But every time I look at it, I also look at those knees. They look really bad on the female figures. I mean, and just talking about paint here, her paint is even less obvious paint than He-Man's here. So I really don't think I should mark off on the paint department. I mean, he's got paint where paint needs to be. And at a $20 price point. So you're talking about the sculpt, the paint, getting the points. The articulation is outstanding. I mean, he comes with swappable pop and swap parts. You know, and he doesn't fall over. Y'all seen him fall over on camera a couple times. He really don't. You'd think, though, he would be more... You'd be able to pull off more poses and stuff, but this like squat stance actually kind of gets in the way a little bit. But it's not, I mean, it's so much of an improvement over the vintage design. It's getting the point on that too. So I'm just gonna have to put this one at a 5 of 5. I mean, it comes with lots of accessories, and there's a lot of promise in this. If you get more figures, you can swap out different parts, and who knows, the sky's the limit, or at least the limit of parts that Mattel makes. What do you think, Hub City Geeks? Do you have this line? Do you have the Turtles of Grayskull line? Do you have Origins? Did you read these comics that I obsessively, compulsively got every cover of? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks. Like and subscribe, and go read the SpartanNerd.com blog. And thanks.